It's Willie D, y'all, back with another episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. In the studio, Johnny Gill.
Yes, sir. You said wild, crazy world. You ain't never lied.
Yeah, man, it's wild, huh?
It's like the Wild, Wild West.
But it's also beautiful, man.
Yes, it is. It is. It
Yeah.
is, because we can find a million things wrong, but it's just as important to go in that gratitude bag and look at the things that are going right. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
so
What's going right in your life right now?
man, I'm here. Family's good. I'm good. We're out here touching so many people's lives on tour. New Edition way, Boyz II Men, Tony Braxton with us.
Yeah.
Major artists that you don't ever, first of all, never get a chance to see major artists come together, sharing a stage all together, not separately, but all together, where it's just a whole new experience for concert goers to see. It's unique, really unique. So, we just set the bar really high. I know there's a lot of other acts been looking and talking about trying to do this, but it's an experience that most people that have gone will tell you, you walk away from this show going, what did I just see?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of things, one of those kind of shows but it's just great. It's just been really wonderful. And a lot of hard work went into it and putting it together. Of course, the mastermind, Brooke Payne, who put it all together to make this show, to make that experience for the concert goers, to be one that they leave there going, the best show I think I've ever seen in my life. Everyone.
Yeah. Man, I saw a big old Prevost out there, and I saw Mike earlier. Mike had his bus. All y'all have your own separate buses?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Y'all, that's big time right there. Yeah.
43 years plus, man.
Y'all deserve it, though. That's a new addition, baby.
Plus.
That's a new addition.
Yeah. And, we all got families now. So it's like everybody's got their families, their kids, and, so they get to be a part of the experience and to look back and say, hey, I've been on the road. I went on the road with my dad and with the family. So it's a blessing, man. We've done 43 years in this game. And listen, it was no walk in the park. We've been through some stuff. We've been through some stuff. And looking at where we are now, how we've come full circle, man, it's like so unique, and it's a blessing, but it's really unique. I'm looking at all these young groups and the groups that have come behind us, and watching how a lot of them, and maybe I might get in trouble for calling out some of these names, but the 112s and some of the other groups that are out here, and they can't seem to come together and understand the importance of getting through the process of growing together, because we went through hell. But our brotherhood brought us through and brought us full circle and kept us, even when we wanted to separate and decided we want to go talk and see each other again in life and all the above. Always remember this. Bobby's been successful. BBD has been successful individually. Ralph has been successful. I've been successful. But even through all the success that we've all had individually, nothing is as greater than and more powerful than we're all together. Any of you groups that are out there, take my word. I don't care what you think you're doing or how much you think you're important or how successful you could be individually. There's nothing that's going to be more powerful than that nucleus when you all come together. And some kind of way, that attitude that everyone has with being solo, they think that that's the answer to it all. You got to work through it. It's like working through a marriage. You got to work through the problems.
So, let's stop right there, because, look, I got to address the elephant in the room. I'm part of a group, and we've had our peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
What's the instructions, man? Like, give me some instructions, and not just for myself, but for other groups out there, man, that, people have their individual success, and everybody have their own ideas of how things should go. Is how much of this is compromise? Is that at the top, or is it, what is it, man?
It's respect. Respect means everyone has to be heard. I realized the biggest problem that we had in our group was everybody wanted the same thing. Everybody wanted the success, but we all have different outlooks and views and opinions of how you're supposed to get there. But at the end of the day, we all had the same thing in common. We wanted to be successful, we wanted to be acknowledged, we wanted to be respected for our craft and what we do. And it is so tough when one individual feels that they have all the answers and no one else's voice can be heard, or your opinion does not have and carry any type of level of value. So we have to start in the first process. I had to start with my guys of talking and mending relationships. We started with IE, Michael Atelier Bivens and I. We were the one that butted heads the most.
You and Mike?
And what happened? Yeah, because
Mike brought you in.
Yeah, but that didn't stop us from having and butting heads and having issues.
Yeah.
And because at the end of the day, we all have our own outlook on stuff. And until Mike and I sat down one day and had a 3-4 hour conversation about what I didn't like, what he liked, what he didn't do, what I didn't do. We went through that whole thing. And we began to find a way in there to come to start building our relationship as brothers, not even as businessmen. Talking and communicating is the most important thing that you'll ever do in life to find an answer and a solution to the problems that we all have to deal with. And talking to and not at someone is important. And when I say respect, respect means that I have to let you finish talking. Whether I agree with you or disagree with you, I have to allow you to finish talking. If you ever notice when you're dealing with people and you're dealing with arguing, people arguing, yelling and screaming, you know why they scream? You know why they get loud? Because they want to be heard. And as soon as a person can have a place and you put them in a position to allow them to speak, whether you like it or agree to disagree, and you respond back with, I hear you. You'll watch the defense come down. You'll watch that level of communication skill level begin to allow you to now go, are you done? Okay, I hear you. And then go, well, let me speak. And then they might cut you off when they hear something that you're saying that they don't agree with. And you got to go, I let you talk, just allow me to talk. So that was my first rule for all 6 of us when I brought all of us back at the table. Everyone wants to be heard. I don't care if their idea or their is the craziest thing that you ever heard. They need to be heard. We can sit down and figure out which way we're going to go with this once everybody has have given their opinion, because that's all it really boils down to. Nobody sits and keeps a score to go, everybody always listens to my idea, always takes my idea. All they do is once they've been heard and you say, what's your input, what's your opinion, you go and you sit down and you don't be dismissive to somebody's opinion. You have to learn to go, even in my own mind, if I'm going, oh, shoot, that's a little, but I still have to respectfully listen and not be dismissive and say your opinion and your voice sounds crazy as hell. Because that's just their opinion. And that's how you build that level of respect to be able to go, I hear what you're saying. But I think we might have to look at it this way and not just tell somebody when they say something that, man, you know, that shit's crazy. What? You must be. And that's what we do. We react, knee-jerk reaction when we hear something we don't like, hear something that sounds crazy, and we hear something that's absurd or think it's absurd. You can't do that when you're talking to people and we're all a part of a group and we're all a part of this entity and we want to build. We have to have a level of respect and decide that if I need to say I disagree, figure out how you're going to say that without going, yo, that's bullshit. I'm not listening. That's crazy. So it's communication. It's recognizing and having respect for each other. It has to start there. Making sure that somebody can navigate the calls, the room when you guys are on calls to say, he's not finished. Don't let him speak first. Not cut him off. But you'll have your turn to talk. Let them speak first. Because you'll notice something. When somebody gets to speak, you realize you might discover something that you didn't know by the time they finish, because everybody don't articulate the same and as quick and as fast. They might mean something, but they can't necessarily articulate it as fast. So when you allow them the time to speak and finish up with what they're saying, then you can sit and you'll go, also, I see what you're trying to say. What you're trying to say is blah, 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 blah. But if you're cutting them off because you're disagreeing with how they're trying to articulate it, you never get to the point, and it just reaches this point where you just can't reach the place. And so you have to have a level of patience, but it has to start with respect.
Right. Respect. Yeah, and I think respect is the foundation for any healthy relationship.
Absolutely.
Respect. You've seen generations come and go. Uh, what's a common mistake that you see artists repeatedly making that you already know the ending to?
Artists are so temperamental, and a lot of them don't understand the business. It's always been for years managers and lawyers and assistants, and they enable you and can spoil you and put you in a place to where everything is catered to you, and you think that that's the way the world runs and that's the way it's supposed to be and that's how it's got to be. Listen, as an artist, you got to have at some point the mindset to recognize that if I'm on the phone to listen to somebody tell you he's not worth that, I would never pay him that amount. You have to understand this is talking business. This ain't personal. That's how you feel about it, and we know I can move on and go. And if I believe that I'm more valuable and got more value, then I'm going to go where I can get the value from. But not taking it personal and understanding that in this business, there's no need to be running and someone running and hiding, protecting you from the reality of what business is and how it operates, and learning how to put that in perspective in order to take care of business, learn business, and to be able to maintain being in a business for a number of years, for a long time. You're going to need to know the ins, the outs, the ups and downs, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There's no other way around it. And when your ego gets in it or your emotions get in it, that you can't control yourself, that you cut your own throat, where it comes down to something that you need to do that can be beneficial to you and to your business because you don't like what they said and how they said it, at the end of the day, you cut your own throat. When it comes down to learning how to navigate through those things and understanding this is the nature of the business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a process to learn that, to accept that, and to be an artist, to start to understand that, and especially for groups. Every group now, I don't know if we did that or who did that, but the group New Edition, but every group that comes together, they don't even stay together long because they're all looking to go solo. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Not everyone is meant to be solo. And I respect the hell out of Levi Stubbs, who stayed in there and had many opportunities with the Four Tops to do his own thing. One of the most underrated vocalists to me that ever walked the planet. But he stayed with the Four Tops, even though I think absolutely he could have had some great success as a solo artist, but he stayed with his group and stayed committed because sometimes it's not for everybody. It's not. And so it makes it harder for groups to stay together because they think when things ain't right, everybody just go your separate ways.
Do we even have groups these days, man? Like when I look at the hip hop landscape, I know everywhere I look, I see solo artists. Even mostly the R&B groups that I see, R&B acts I see today. Everybody's solo now.
Everybody.
Is that indicative of the climate that we're in? Like this self-absorbed climate, this me climate?
It's the me climate, and everybody's just trying to get that bag, and they figure I can get more by myself than I can together. Listen, this is our third tour, New Edition's third tour. All three tours have been majorly successful. This tour is our biggest tour because we put together these three major headline acts and understood in doing so, yes, we might be the headliners, but every one of these acts on here are headliners. So the attitude coming in here, walking in here was, we want everybody to shine. We want everybody to feel comfortable. We want everybody to feel good and feel like they're just as important when they walk out there on that stage. Mm-hmm. And so it's understanding maturity and growth allows you to understand, even as an artist, we could stick our chest out and talk about you guys open for us and we're the headliners, people coming to see us. But you understand in the nature of business, recognizing when it means this could be bigger and could be for the greater good of everybody doing something that nobody's ever done, where you got three acts working and sharing the stage together, and it's constantly flipping, and there's all this stuff that's going, and people are going, what the heck is this? Because their first thought process is, who goes on first? Who goes on second? It's like, nobody. Show drops at 8 o'clock, and it's all three acts sharing the stage.
Yeah, we had a run like that back in the Gap, and Chuck D was the catalyst for bringing everything together. Now, who's the catalyst for you guys? You know, this tour that you're on. This is, you know, I know there's everybody got a different role and everything, but it's always that one guy that pulls. It's like the glue. Who is that guy?
I guess I'm guilty.
Yeah.
You know, my thing is, and my goal even for this tour was, I told, when I called Tony Braxton, I said, "Hun, we want you. We want you to be a part of this." And I said, "And I want you to give us what you can. We're going to carry the load, but I want you as a part of this. We think would be such a great addition to this unique tour." And, and give or take, with her help, I said, "I don't want you to overload yourself. Tell me and tell us where you feel that's most comfortable. We got it from there." Same thing happened with Boyz II Men. Called Nate. We had a conversation about them coming and being a part of. And I talked to them about wanting them to be and feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, when we all came together, I said, "I don't care how successful this tour has been or it's going to be." We could tell right off the bat, because as soon as it went up for sale, it was like it went completely crazy. I said, this tour would be an absolute failure to me if we leave off this tour, and I forget the money, but we leave off this tour and everyone didn't have a great time. It's a failure to me. Mm-hmm. We're on our last day on this tour today. On the stage, every night, even at the ending, we're whispering in each other's ears, "We got to keep this going.
Yeah,
we don't want to stop." Tony's, "Let's go. I want to go. Let's keep going. Boyz II Men, let's not stop, man. This is fun. We've been having fun." And I said, that's all. That, to me, is what makes me understand or to say this is a successful tour. The numbers speaks for itself. I mean, polls will tell you that one, but for us, for me, and for the group personally, making everybody feel like they felt like, man, this is unique, different, and it was so much fun. It was the success, made it feel successful to me. Yeah. But I did that because it's what I was talking about earlier about respect and learning how to communicate with people, understanding people speak different languages, and how you have to deal with it. Like we all think because we speak English that we all, you're direct with that and that makes somebody understand. We all still speak a different language, even though we speak English. And you have to learn people to begin to understand how to deal with them.
Yeah, I just want to go back, and that wasn't lost on me what you just said. You said we all speak a different language, even though we speak English.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bar right there.
Yeah.
Man, I want to go back to your humble beginnings, because this temperament comes from somewhere, and I just want to see how far back it goes. You are the son of a preacher man, Mr. Johnny Sr. And Annie Mae.
Yes.
Annie Mae. Man, what was it like growing up in that household? You had 3 brothers.
Yeah.
Randy, Jeff, and Bobby. So what's that like, growing up? And you started so young, man. Wasn't you like 5 years old when you first hit the stage?
About 4 or 5 years of age.
So that's all you know is performing.
All I know. Yeah.
Like it's really in your DNA.
Yeah. My dad, who was a minister, he was one of those singing ministers. He was one of those like the T.D. Jakes singing and preaching. Yeah. One of those kind of guys. And you grew up, and I grew up, and we were in church 2 or 3 times on Sundays, and then you got Bible study, and so it was in kind of that's where all of my stuff was rooted. Yeah,
was you ever tired of going to church? Did you ever resent it?
No, actually, I didn't. My brother did. My oldest brother, because we had a singing group, and he would get a beating because we would sing in church, and he would turn his back to the audience, and they used to try to make him face the audience and sing, but he didn't like singing. But we all could sing. My dad bought us all instruments. And so he said when he turned 18, he wasn't going to sing no more. And my God, when he turned 18, he never looked back. Yeah. But they pushed me out there because I was the youngest. So I didn't know any better. I was just singing because I was fearless. I didn't know. I was just singing.
But you enjoyed it, though. You enjoyed bringing the house down.
I did. But I didn't know, honestly, that there was a gift to that. I didn't know because I was just absorbing, probably looking at my dad, watching my dad, because he used to sing in a quartet group too as well. and watching him destroy a house. So I'm taking it all
He
in
was
as a
that good?
kid. Yeah, I'm taking it all in as a kid, not realizing what I'm really seeing because I didn't know. I'm just watching and taking it in. But yeah, and as I began to continue to sing and grow, you realize there's a certain control you have over on even a church audience. You can make the church audience move. You can make anybody move. And I used to sit there with my brothers and I when we formed our family group. I used to sit there. We would be outside in front of the church going, watch how many people I'm going to make shout. And watch when I do this, I'm going to do this. And you watching them fall out. I'm thinking it's fun. And it's fun to us because we're like, we're just destroying churches. Didn't realize until I continued to grow and got older, just understanding that that was a gift that not everybody can connect with an audience and make people move and touch them with your words, with what you're singing about, and that you don't take it for granted and it is not to be used in any way but in a positive way. And that's why I understood the assignment and understanding that there was a gift, and then, as they all keep saying, anointing. I began to understand that much clearer when you start to realize how many people can open their mouths and can sing rings around some of us, but there's a lack of a disconnection, of a connection with the audience. And when you can have someone who might not even be the greatest singer, but could say and know what to hit words, melody, can just destroy a place, you realize this is a gift. That's a gift and an anointing. So I understood that, and I took it serious and still took it serious. When I put a mic in my hand, man, listen, good voice, bad voice, it doesn't matter. All I know is I'm leaving it all out there. Like there is no tomorrow. Why? Because this is a blessing. I'll be 60 years old coming up and doing this for 43 plus.
May, right?
May 22nd. Yeah. So, it's like, I'm so grateful and being able to do this. And the reason why I've been able to do it so long, because I've taken this serious. It's not just something that I do. Not everyone has been down the same road or haven't had the path that I've been down, but some have gone through so much, from drugs to all kinds of things. Listen, my dear brother, Arsenio Hall, congratulations. He got his new book just been released.
Oh,
Arsenio,
yeah.
Yeah, that's my brother.
Absolutely.
And he said to me, he says, it's about time for you to do your book. I said, bro, don't nobody want to read my book. And he says, why? I said, I don't have no drama. Like, I know people need a bunch of drama and all this madness. You'll read the first page, you're going to be asleep. I don't know what to tell you. He goes, that's not true.
I don't think so.
He says, you got to understand, starting in this business as a kid. I said, but the other stuff, I don't have drug issues. I never had none of this stuff. I said, the biggest problem, because I'm such a private person, I said, people's biggest concern still, and is frustrated with me to keep going, is he gay or what? Because I won't even allow people in my life. I don't allow people, because there's a point where it's like, this is my personal life. And no, I've never been. I ain't never had, never will. But that's all they could focus on when you look at it and think about, what else is you focus on? Because I don't do drugs, I don't do nothing. So you can't see, you don't find anything else. So they just sit there, and that's what they just keep poking me with. And I'm just like, okay, if that's what y'all want to do, I want to believe. But what am I going to tell you?
I think there's something to be said about people who can strike that balance between privacy and public access, because being in the entertainment industry, we have to make ourselves accessible, but at the same time, you can't give people too much of you, otherwise you won't have any privacy. And I think the more people know about you, the more drama and the more stress that it causes on you, the more weight that it put on your life and the people that you love the most. I don't think that you really have to be really put yourself all the way out there in order to maintain some level of success.
No.
Because look, what you did it, and there's a few other examples of people who's been able to do it, and then when they come out, people are so excited when they finally come out and into the public and perform, or even when they do an interview, or when they're, even if you see them out. It's a good thing when somebody see see you out and they say, man, damn, what you doing out here? What damn, you know, like that's a good thing, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, you have one of those reputations, but you came into manhood in an industry that often rewards image over integrity.
Yeah.
Was there a line that you refused to cross that could have made you bigger at the time that you were,
reaching
doing
that peak?
it? Yeah, you were at your peak.
All of what has happened to me, my life, my career, has just been really true destiny and God's grace and His blessings and Him covering me. I was laughing, talking to my good friend Tisha Campbell not too long ago. We were sitting there having a conversation about this whole Hollywood thing where they got all these secret societies and all this stuff that they say people are supposed to be. And we was laughing because I said, I don't know if I should be offended or what, because I'll be 60 years of age. I've never seen cocaine live. Like, I've never seen it in person. I've seen it on TV. I've heard all the people that have been around me. Some of my own friends have said, yo, I used to go hard. And I said, nobody ever said to me, hey, why don't you take let's try this. Nobody has ever did none of that. I've never had anybody go, hey, listen, we got our little secret little club here that we go to, and you want to come and join us and be in there? I've heard all of the stuff that goes on in Hollywood, all this stuff, and I sit here and scratch my head and go, how come I've never seen it? And nobody's ever approached me with no weird stuff of clubs and these little secret societies things. And so I said, I don't know if I should be offended.
No, they don't approach you with that because they know how you move. They're watching. People don't just offer that to everybody. They don't just open that world up to everybody. You got to show them something. And obviously you haven't showed them anything. Because I've been in rooms where the coke was on the table, but I didn't know the coke was going to be on the table. I just walked in the room and I was like, oh shit, and I, like get on up out of there, man, like, so I've seen certain things happen, and then once I see it, I already know this ain't for me. I got to get on up out of here, man, because it's a lot of problems come with that. And we seeing what's happening right now. Absolutely. A lot of our celebrities getting caught up in all kinds of things, and some of them are just guilty by association.
I'm guilty. That's my fault, huh? Let me tell you something. You would think as a singer and as an entertainer that would be where the buck stops for what I do. But my phone is going 24/7, and there's always somebody that's on that I'm helping to navigate through something. And I didn't realize, and I used to say, well, shoot, why me? And then I realized that's what my dad did all his life too. And it didn't dawn on me until later that it's like, oh shucks. My phone's it's nonstop ringing. Just somebody's in trouble. Somebody needing some kind of
It was
advice.
the pastor.
So I just
advice.
And it's
prayer.
And that's me
worship,
constantly. And I'm just sitting there, and sometimes I'm so tired, and I'm just understanding how I have to be obedient. And I keep saying, well, why me? And why everybody comes to me? And I realize that even my point of view and the way I approach situations, it's like used to hear people say, if I was you, but it's like, I'm not you, you're not me. And understanding that if I can be direct and be honest and not have to walk on eggshells, but to also be able to, when a person comes to you, that's when they're in their most of the time, most vulnerable position and spot, where they're open, can be a little more open to receive what you have to say. And so for me, I find it is important that what I'm looking at, listening to, and somebody's telling me about what somebody did to them, I'm understanding that that's one side of the story. If I haven't heard the other person's story, I can't sit here and go team you. All I can ask you after you've spoken and how it made you feel, how it impacted you. But then I got to ask the next question is, what hand you think you had in it? And how much accountability are you willing to take into this? How did it get here?
That's the big piece right there, huh?
Ooh,
accountability.
That can hurt you.
Yeah. But I respect accountability so much. even when I've done wrong and found myself in really, really bad positions, I've always been the type to put it on myself. I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, he did me wrong, or yeah, she did me wrong, but you know what? I shouldn't have been fucking with him in the first place.
Right.
I always bring it back to me because I think that when you accept accountability, then you can change. Only until you accept accountability can you change. But if you put it on somebody else, you have no reason to change.
You'll always be a victim.
Yeah,
you ain't never did nothing wrong.
Exactly.
And there's everybody always picking on you.
Right.
And that's what most people do. If you go into the courtroom, if you're sitting and listening to somebody tell you what happened to them, it's always going to come from the side of sounding like they're the victim.
Right.
And nobody ever sits down and go, hey, listen, I'll be honest with you, I did this and should have probably done it. And I said this, and I could have probably said this and that instead of approaching it that way. Nobody ever, people always, when they're going to tell the story, they're going to be the victim.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case. And until you learn how to be conscious and aware of what you do and what hand you have in these situations to go, I don't want to have that to happen again, most of the time we're repeated offenders. We'll continue to keep doing it, keep trying to figure out why we keep running into the same wall and running into a wall and coming out with the same results. It's just simply we have to be conscious, become conscious and aware and understanding. A lot of us are tone deaf. We think because we speak a certain way, you could talk to anybody any kind of way, and they know you, so they should be able to know how you are. That's just how you are. That doesn't give you an excuse to not be better, to work, to understand, to be conscious and aware of. Let me say, excuse me, instead of just going, hey. It's those things that you have to be conscious of and aware of, because not everybody's going to take hey very kindly. Hey, you could mean, who are you talking to? Where hey, you just mean normal stuff to you when you're saying it, speaking. But if we're just tone deaf, we don't understand that that's how we can create a problem and not realize that what you're doing is creating a problem, and now all of a sudden you're a victim.
Yeah. Was there ever a time, like, let me put it like this. It's often said that it's lonely at the top. Was there ever a time that when you were at the height of your career that you felt alone? And what did that teach you about attention versus love?
Even at the peak of my career, I never felt alone. I was in a moment of enjoying the success and feeling like this is what, it was the craziest thing. When I was a kid, I was 15 when I signed my record deal. 16, my first record came out. Losing, not being successful, wasn't even a thought process. I thought you sign a record deal, that means you're going to be a star. So I never thought anything different.
Right.
Never thought anything different. And so being in the business at such an early age, as a kid, taking care of a family at the age of 15, a family of five, being successful, when I signed that record contract, it was never a question for me that I was going to fail. So even as a kid going through the process, I always was enjoying it and watching it as the fame grew, watching it as it got more understanding that what mistakes you made, of how you have to deal with certain stuff, now how you got to carry yourself, how people now magnify everything you say you do. It has to be done differently, but I never allowed it to take over me. I never allowed myself to reach a point that what you think about me, let me try to walk stronger, let me try to scream stronger, let me try to look different, let me make sure I stick my chest out to make sure you understand and know who I am. I never allowed that to change me because of what people think. Why? Because then I would have fallen into that trap of what most people do and have done, where they get to the point where they lose themselves, trying to prove to people who they are or who they want them to see them to be. I'm just like, listen, what you see is what you get. And I've been that way for a long time since I can recall. And it has kept me stable. It has kept me in this place that I think that's the reason why I had never ran to drugs. I never decided I needed to do any of the other things that I saw the people doing, because I was always my own man, and walked my own walk. And wasn't afraid to hang around people. I don't care who you are, gay, straight, whatever it was. Always was secure of being around people and dealing with people according to how they treat me, and never running and hiding.
Right. You've had some great relationships with some phenomenal women. Like, I mean, you're friends with Janet.
Yeah.
You're friends with Whitney.
Yes.
You know, and Stacy Lattisaw. I want to come back to Janet and Whitney, but Stacy Lattisaw is like one of my favorites, and I think it was so cool for y'all to be friends for so long. You know, y'all go all the way back to Kimball Elementary.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah, and then we went to Kimball Elementary, then ended up, her place was the hangout spot after school every day. Everybody comes home from school, get your work done, but you go over, and her place was like Disneyland for us, actually. There was always something going on, softball, dodgeball. There was something going, roller skating, go-karts. They would take us for go-kart ride, you know, all the kids, the neighborhood stuff. And so her place was always that for all of us. Right. And then we started dating. And that was really before I actually got my record deal. And
so is that how y'all came up with the song Perfect Combination?
That was with Narada Michael Walden. And I believe that's probably, I don't know if we were even, honestly, if everybody even knew. Of course, the president of the label knew we had started dating. But I think Narada must have had some kind of clue too, because I think when you think about how ironic that song came about, and we were young.
I'm glad you said y'all dated, man, because this makes me feel good. Like I like this story. I like the love story. It's part of it. Because I'm like, you know, they've been knowing each other. They had been knowing each other since elementary. Yeah. You know, they're both in the industry. They both appear to be good people. Yep. Why not connect? You know what I'm saying? Y'all got many things in common. You know, why not connect? So y'all dated. Yep. At what age did y'all start dating?
Oh, goodness.
Because y'all made that song when you were around 17, 18, right?
So it must have been probably around 17, 18. Yeah, we started. We started.
And so
actually, a little bit before that, because the first album came out in 83. So I was about maybe 16. So we started kind of at that point.
How long did y'all date?
Oh, God. Maybe, because I moved to LA in 86, 87. So we might have dated for maybe about 2 years, 3 years, maybe, tops.
Okay, so it was hard, but it wasn't as hard as it would have been had y'all been together longer, because y'all knew each other's families.
Yeah.
And so I always thought that there was something special about like dating a woman who you not only fall in love with her, but you fall in love with her family. Because I think that is extremely important, to fall in love with her family, because a lot of us today, we got this Bonnie and Clyde mentality, and we got that us against the world, me and you, me and my girl, all I need is my girlfriend. And I think I am serious about it taking a village to raise a child. And I think that, you know, men need to have their friends and their friend group and be close to mama and daddy and all that. And same thing with women. When you find that people are close, that they got a close relationship with family and friends, they have a tribe, they seem to be better off.
A little more stable. It's a foundation. And we were young. We were just kids, not knowing what we was doing. We was just in the moment, just kids. And, you know, so it was a learning process, because, I mean, that was the first time that I got my heart broken being in a relationship, because I've been in, you know, that was like my first probably real relationship. So
who broke it off?
I think I did. I don't remember, but I remember going into my mom's room and sitting down with my mother. That was probably the first time as a kid. I might have been, I don't know how old I was, but and crying on my mom's shoulder, I believe. So that was probably the first time I could say I think I experienced heartbreak, was when that, and I then shortly moved to LA after that.
How did you get through it?
Well, as a child star and a kid in a business that we're in, you know, the world is like,
it's constantly moving.
Oh yeah,
everything's constantly evolving.
And there was plenty of options.
Yeah,
especially when I got to LA, it was like, you know, but you know that still took time to heal from that. But you're just young. When you're young, man, listen, you can bounce back from anything quickly. It's not a long process. You think it's the end of the world, but you realize there's so much more. There's so much more living to do.
Do you think that if you had met Not met, but do you think that if you and Stacy had dated later in life, that y'all could have made a longer run?
I don't know, because when I believe in destiny, I believe in where you're supposed to be ultimately. I'm here because this is where it was supposed to take me. We all got we go down these paths. We all got our own path that we have to go down. And it is to take you and lead you to where you're ultimately supposed to be. And I don't think I could sit here and say all day long, I think we'd have been together 30 years, but probably maybe not. Because if that wasn't ultimately where I was supposed to be, I don't know. It was just a part of the process of moving on into the journey. And that's why I say it's hard for a man to run a race with his head turned backwards. We have to look ahead, and we have to understand that the things that we look back at and say, if I had never done this, then I could have done this, and this would have been this, and I could have been this, and we could have made this much money. It's like sometimes all of that stuff is all a part of the journey, a part of the process. And what happens is when we get stuck looking back and can't seem to move past that, and those things has so much weight and carries so much on you that everything goes back to that, and you can always keep bringing that up, and that's where you go, man, I wish I would never be living like this no more. I would have never been. You never can move forward. So part of the problem is a man can't run a race with his head turned backwards. Mm-hmm. It's behind you. Yesterday is gone, and you can't get it back. And I don't even control tomorrow. I got to stay in the present, stay in the now. And understand whatever that is that God has given me, whatever it is that I'm dealing with, wherever I'm at this moment, stay present. Because every day we live, we got more days behind us than we do in front of us.
That's right.
And so when we're living in regret or living back and always constantly going back to the past, that's what happens in relationships and all. People start looking back and I should have stayed with this person, and man, that was it, and they did this to me and they did that, and blah, blah, blah. And you find yourself not being able to. A person is long gone and they still got a hold over you and control over you because you can't even live your life because of the damage that they've done.
Yeah, the person, and sometimes the person is still in our life and they may have harmed us in the past.
Yeah.
And we can't let it go. We're over here crying about something.
Yeah.
And they're over there just happy,
living
as
lives.
a bird in a tree, just laughing and living it up. And they're not even thinking about what they did to you way back then.
We as parents, think about it as a parent, and you have multiple kids. I have one, but I have so many God kids. We, even as parents, don't even realize sometimes the things that we say or do in raising our kids, how that's going to impact them sometimes. Because we're just going that along. We're just doing what we know and what we've been taught, or what we only know the best we know how to do it. We don't know what we're saying or what might be a nickname or something you might call them. Get your little behind in here before I beat you back. You don't know. Some kids they can roll off like water, and some kids it will do damage to them.
That's
and
true.
As they grow up, you don't even realize what kind of damage is done to them.
Right.
You're moving on with life and doing whatever because it just doesn't register to you. And so you have to learn and understand that it's the same thing when it comes down to life when we're dealing with each other, man. It's like sometimes we're not even aware. So I'm living my best life, not realizing the stuff that I said and did still has an impact on you. But the trick of that is to understand that at some point, if someone's choosing wants to sit down and talk to you, for you to own it, to acknowledge it. And if you didn't mean to hurt someone, if you didn't mean to disrupt someone or cause them that kind of anger or pain, then the only thing you can say is, hey, I apologize if that had that kind of impact on you. Because there's no blueprint to learning how to be a parent. And there's no blueprint to sometimes even going through and navigating through life where we say things, do things to hurt each other. We just do. But it is not okay, and it's nothing we can use to justify those actions when you've been told and you have knowledge of it, to not take accountability, to go, hey, listen, I was a little crazy back then, probably a little wild, sharp-tongued, I just didn't care and was in a different space, but that's not who I am today, and I apologize. Yeah. That's the best we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the hardest lesson that you had to learn about relationships after your success that money and fame couldn't fix?
That I come from the old school as a man takes care of the household. Come from the old school that it is our job. I come from that old school where you believe that my word should be the final word, because I have to protect the family. I have to do all those things. And I had this notion that as long as I'm paying the bills, you have the option to work. If you choose to work, if you don't, that ain't my problem. That's up to you. But as long as I'm paying the bills, it's my way or the highway. And I didn't realize that I don't care how successful you are. I don't care how much you take care of the household. I don't care how great of a man you could pretend to be or might be to a woman. You still have to understand one thing about a woman in a relationship is they need to have and feel a sense of value. They have to have a voice.
And they have to feel appreciated.
Absolutely. And if you take that away from them, it might start out looking good. They're great because you're taking care of the house and they're living the best life. But at some point, when they lose their identity and realize that nothing they say has any bearings because you make all the decisions and they don't really have no say-so and no voice in the relationship, I don't care how much money you got, how successful you are, how well you think you're treating them. My friend, that leads to a dead end. Mm-hmm. I would love nothing more than to have a woman that has her own identity, has her own life, but also have the options that if you want to work, fine. If you don't, you got it. But I need you to do something so that you can always have a sense of value. Because purpose. We all need that. A purpose, yes. All of us do. Yeah.
Yeah. Your brothers, I want to go back to your brothers, man, because I think this was really cool to be in a group with your brothers. Y'all were in a group called Little Johnny and the Wings of Faith. Man, and you were the lead singer here. So I know that Randy went off and did his own thing on the solo
to the Extreme.
With Extreme. Yeah. But you know, what happened with Jeff and Bobby? What did they end up doing?
My brother Bobby just, he used to play drums. My brother Jeff used to sing, but he didn't like singing to begin with anyway. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, the only one that followed suit behind me was my brother Randy. Mm-hmm. My brother Bobby wasn't that particular, music wasn't like that for him as well. He wasn't that interested. And of course, my brother Randy followed suit. He always looked up to me, even though I'm the youngest. He always looked up to me. And
are all of them still here with us?
Yes.
So what's Jeff and Bobby doing right now?
My brother Bobby, he works for the government. My brother Jeff, he's just the oldest brother that gets to live his best life because I still take care of him. Okay. No, but he works. He has a job. He does does hair and works at a salon with one of his good friends that he enjoys doing that. But everybody's just kind of living their best life and just, you know, I laugh about it. It's a joke. I'm started taking care of a family at the age of 15. Here I am about to be 60. And I'm trying to figure out, when does this stop? But
you like it, man. You like it.
I enjoy it. Listen, God don't bless us to keep the blessings for ourselves, but He blesses us to bless others. And if I don't start at home and I can go out here and bless other people, what does it mean?
Right.
What does it mean? When my brother Randy, God bless him, he allowed me when my mom was sick. We lost my mom a few years ago, but he gave up the majority of his life 24/7 helping to take care of my mom. And when we lost my mom, and to watch him look like he was completely lost, like, what do I do now? I said, listen, you afforded me the opportunity to go out here and work and knew Mommy was in the best hands because them two was like two peas in a pod. Where you see one, you see the other. And it's been like that for years. And to watch him, as much as it hurt us, I was in more pain watching him hurting, missing my mom and what he was going to do with his life. And I remember watching him and him being quiet, and he was like, I'm like, you okay? He goes, oh yeah, I'm good. And I'm like, no, you're not. I said, here's what you're going to do. You're coming to LA here with me, and you're getting ready to go to work. Because I could take care of you all day long, but he's like any other man. He'd rather work for his. I said, it's time to go to work. And traveling and watching him smile, laughing, and seeing the clouds starting to lift and seeing him his spirit starting to lift. I'm going, yeah, he's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
Yeah. Your mom's seen you do a lot, accomplish a lot. But is there anything that you wanted her to witness you accomplish, or is there anything that you wanted to do for her before she passed? that you didn't get to do?
No. What I was able to do, and was the greatest blessing when I look into it all and go into my gratitude bag, is my brothers and I, our family, we were always a close-knit family. And my mom knew one thing, that when it was time to make her transition, that I got them. All your boys, all your babies are good.
Yeah.
I got this. Because I've been doing it all my life.
Yeah.
So I just wanted her to be able to understand and know we all know about God. We all say we love God, but a lot of us, as much as we say we love him, we, why we fear going to him.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that I look back over my life when I had my spills from my financial stuff, going bankrupt is like most young black men that spend the money. And I didn't do drugs, I didn't do none of that stuff. Going through all of that era, that point of my life, and trying to figure out what was all that for. And I look back and I think about when my mom got sick, and I was like, what if that had happened back then? Versus the things that I lost, I gained back 10 times, tenfolds. And being able to provide my mom with the best care, the best everything when her health started failing, and having the resources to get and do the best of everything gave me such peace, because it could have been back then. There's no set time. But to be able to say I did all that I could, even this morning, man, it's been a couple of years. I'm on the bus in my bed rolling this morning and dreaming, and all I could do, I woke up, just tears still coming down, still. Pillow was completely drenched. Going, man, when is this going to be over at some point? But it still hits me. But I'm so grateful that not one tear that I shed and I cry about missing my mom, not one tear that I cry is about regret, asking or wondering, could I have done more? I did all I could. And I feel so at peace with it, knowing that I did it all. Coming off the stage, sometimes after 90 minutes of being on the stage, getting on a call, on the phone, going to sleep. We didn't have much to say. We'd just be on the phone. All you could hear on both sides of the phone is
yeah.
Just because she just wanted to just hear me and want me to be there. And those days, I have a couple of days off. I'm going home, telling my brother Randy, I got it. Go rest. I got these next couple of days. I'm done with it. Feeding, changing, doing whatever needs to be done. So I rolled up to sleep. It wasn't just from providing from a financial standpoint. It was like being there and listening to her just go, John R., I love you. And I'm just like, I love you too, mommy. And being able to do those things helped me to heal, even though I miss her. But if I could say one thing to anybody, it's like, listen, it's one thing to be able to provide the resources and get money, do all those things. But when you roll that sleeve up and you're in there and doing what you do, I can just say whatever that means for you, to be able to know that when that time comes, that those tears that you cry, there'll be tears of sadness for missing them, but never tears of regret. And a lot of times people fall apart and wrestle with it because they realize at some point I didn't do all that I could have done.
Janet is a very private person like you.
Yeah.
How did you and Janet meet, and how did the relationship evolve?
I was 14 or 15 years of age because I had just gotten my record deal, and I was such a huge fan. And a guy named George Lake, who was working over at her label at the time, knew how much of a fan I was and called me one day when she was in D.C. doing an interview and put me on the phone, and we talked. And from that point on, we kept in touch. And then we ended up doing the Hal Jackson Talented Team pageant that Hal Jackson used to do in L.A., and we connected from that point and was never apart from that point.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just kids.
How did you get her to trap you into a bet that required you piercing your nipple if you lost? Why would you agree to a bet
I
like
have no idea how I let this woman. We used to do some of the most craziest things and just stupid stuff. But then there was this stuff we just, Janet's always been an innovator, and she always doing stuff where you're just going, she's so detailed with stuff, but she's so freaking creative. But we were just we act silly, get stupid, drinking and hanging out, and it would just be stuff that we would just be talking and laughing and finding. We find humor in freaking anything. Jan gives off this nice, laid-back, quiet person, but when she's in the comfort of her family and friends, she's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. And we was talking about something, doing something, laughing, and then I said something, and I made a bet, and I said, and when we made the bet, she was like, well, what's the bet? And I was like, well, if I lose, she said, if you lose, then you got to get the piercings, because I think she'd had piercings. And I was like, piercings? I'm like, okay, bet.
What would she had to do had she lost?
I don't even remember that. This thing was so painful when I lost.
You blacked out.
Man, I was like, my God. I'm like, what the hell did I do? I remember going back to the hotel, and I remember sleeping like this, going, this is some bullshit. What the hell did I do here? And it hurt so bad that I was thinking at some point, I'll just get them taken out sooner than later. Man, after I kept thinking about all that pain that I went through, and I was like, oh, hell no. They're just going to have to stay for a while. But I started liking it. And then when I started dating these girls that was going, ooh, those piercings, those are sexy. I was like, oh, for real?
Kept them longer.
Oh, yeah, hell yeah. It was a benefit. And I had to thank her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we used to do stupid stuff. We just, we grew up and just going through the process of stuff. So many things. She's been there at so many important points in my life. And I've been there for so many things that she's gone through in her life and the important parts of our lives that we just, we've been there for. So that's just been family that I just, listen, I remember one time my mom was in the ICU and she went to the hospital for the first time, and Jan was having some issues, I think, with her relationship. And my mom just kind of came out of the thing, and she was still in ICU, but she was doing better. And the first thing she said, the first thing out of her mouth is Jan okay? And I'm sitting there going, how did you know? Like, just because she just, it was happening at that moment. And I said, yes. I said, she's good, Mom. She's okay. But it's just, there was a connection there. It's just, even with my mom, with her, and just knowing, and we being just great friends for so many years, that it was always, and I remember telling my mom, even when she would ask from time, what's happening, is Jan and the baby okay? Because she could never say the baby's name. She'd just go, Jan, is the baby okay? I'm like, she's fine. And I said, Mom, I got her. And she's good. And she's, well, just like my brothers, I was like, I got him.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how did she process Michael's death?
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Because they knew all along, too, behind all of this, it wasn't really no accident. There was a lot more to it. And so you can only imagine, as a sibling, as family, I don't care how much you go through with your families, that's your family. And, at some point, they start to learn, some of the things that they've learned about all of this that took place. It's hurtful, it's painful, because you look back and think, this didn't necessarily have to be this way. So it impacted them all of them, in some ways.
Yeah.
Probably ways that we still never can imagine. I remember calling her. She was shooting the movie Why Did I Get Married with Tyler. So I remember calling her, and as soon as the word came down, and I was like, just tell me, say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. And I remember her saying, I'm on the side of the road here for a minute. Just had to take a quick second.
Who called who?
I called her, because I'd gotten the word, and I just called her. And I said, say it ain't so. Yeah, that was a moment that was just, whew, that was brutal too. And
then, a few years later, one of your other good friends, Whitney, passed.
Oh, goodness.
And that I know what it did to me. I can only imagine what it did to you.
we're at the building getting ready for a concert. To get that word to come down, it was just, everything was like a fog. It was like, this is like a dream. Like, this is a bad dream right now, you know? And when it finally hit it, it's like, no, this is real. It's like, my God, that was brutal. Brutal.
Do you suspect foul play?
In her case, you hear so many things, but I don't know. You know, the thing is, when I don't think it was no secret having issues, substance abuse issues, we know anything can happen. That's the risk that you take with that. At any given time, a bad batch of anything. You hear all these things, but you don't know what to honestly believe. For me, if it had been probably a different case where maybe that wasn't the case of having that to add into the equation, it might have a little more bearing with some of the things that you do hear that might have been possibly. I just don't know. I couldn't tell you, but we know that there's not much of good can come out of substance abuse. It depends on what you're using and doing. It, you know, if you're lucky, you can get through it, and if not, what it can ultimately take you to.
Yeah, my thoughts parallel your sentiments. I said that myself. You know, like anytime there's substance abuse involved, man, you know, you're pretty much a ticking time bomb, and it can go down.
Yeah,
man, you know, Whitney was one of those people that like was so beloved, like universally beloved. I mean, like it didn't matter if you was a man or a woman. You know, it didn't matter what your beliefs were, your religious beliefs. What people love Whitney Houston, like, and she was. We saw the funny side of her when her and Bobby,
God,
did that show.
And y'all just got a little glimpse.
I know. Like, tell us a couple of those stories, man, that would like that we haven't heard.
Oh man, no, Whitney was just real with it. Whitney was never. People see this elegant woman singing, but when she come off from that elegance of them being on the stage, quick, funny, sharp, humorous, and never a dull moment with her. And Bobby was too. They were like just. I get it. People kept saying, "Why would they if I put the cameras on them being like that and them doing?" But they were that kind of couple that was just, it was nonstop, but just freaking something going on at all times. There was never a dull moment. And in that, it was just that Whitney just always, I mean, she was just a straight up, down home, regular woman who was quick with it, didn't have no problem, no filter to tell you what was on her mind, but was funny as hell because she was just funny.
For example.
I woke up one time, we were out of the country going somewhere, and we were on a train, on a bullet train. And I remember hearing, I'm asleep, and I remember hearing something going, and she didn't say anything, but I just woke up and I opened my eyes, and there she was just brushing her wig. And I just started looking. And I'm looking and I'm laughing, and she looked back, and she's like, what? I didn't say, the crunch just woke me up. But she would just, be in the moment to laugh at herself, to laugh at other people. She never had this thing where she just took herself seriously, but she would laugh at herself. Yeah. But she just had such a great sense of humor. And that's why I think we all loved her. She never took herself that serious, where she just felt like it was just like, but she was a diva. Now, let's not get it twisted. And the diva means everything was on the grand scale. But herself, the person, she was just like walk in the room and can relate and talk to and hang out and laugh with anybody.
That's a good way to break that down. You said that she was a diva. That just meant that everything was on a grand scale. But, you take all that away, and she's just a good,
Just a
yeah,
decent, regular woman who can just relate, talk to, hang out with anybody.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Man, what was it like going to the Duke Ellington School of the Arts? What was that like? Because that was in D.C., so I'm sure there was a lot of talent there. Did Stacy go there
Stacy
also?
went there, and she attended there longer than I did. I went really because of her for a brief moment, but she did. She stayed a little longer than I did, and it was just really just to get the experience of just understanding when you say that School of Art. It was like being this. This is a part of my journey, which was to do what I'm doing now, 43 years later. You explore, you look, you go. I was always one that was seeking, trying to find other ways to continue to grow, to be creative, to continue to elevate. And I think that's the reason why I'm still in here 43 years later. Um, Stacy was not so much. Stacy enjoyed the business, but I think the business really wasn't something that she was really had that passion for. She did it because I think she, honestly, her mom was a singer, and I think her mom lived vicariously through her. I think that at some point it reached a place for her for Stacy, I think in doing this, that it wasn't fulfilling. But she started reaching up. I think it's like she almost felt like I need to do this because I'm going to disappoint everyone else by not doing it. But it wasn't a thing where I think she really
She had that passion.
Yeah, didn't have that passion for it. And so eventually at some point it reached a point where she reached that crossroad where she was just like, I don't want to do this. She was interested in gospel, and she decided to take that route. I remember taking her to church the first time we ever went to church. We started going to church, and she really got into it. And I remember watching her one time, catching the Holy Spirit, and I remember sitting there looking, going, I don't know if you remember that guy from the Five Heartbeat when he was looking at the woman when she was acting, and when the guy was singing, yeah. I was like this. And from that day forward, I mean, she never let go from her belief and her relationship with God. It went from there to continue to still even to this day.
Man, it looking it's trapped in my head.
Yeah.
Man, yeah. y'all went to elementary school and high school. Did y'all go to Sousa middle school together?
Sousa Junior High, and after that we ended up getting tutors. Yeah. Because our careers at that point had really started taking off. So we went to Sousa Junior High as well. Kemet Elementary, Sousa Junior High, and then from there we had tutors.
Man, how much pressure was it when you came into the group, when you came into New Edition? Bobby being removed from did Bobby leave the group, or was he expelled from the group?
You put it kindly. He was expelled from the group.
Okay, so
they kicked him out.
Okay, so they kicked Bobby out of the group. So, but you're stepping in now, and you're replacing Raph. Okay, so Raph is gone solo, so you're stepping in, but it's almost, even though you're coming in to replace Raph, it's almost like you're replacing two guys, because you two favorites. You got Bobby leaving, gone, and Raph is gone, and now you step in. How much pressure is on you to live up to these expectations?
Well, I didn't even know what I was really walking myself into, to be honest with you. I knew it was a great opportunity. We all talked about it, but nobody knew. Ralph was only going to do a solo project. The guys were afraid that he was going to go solo and not return. And they were trying to figure out what we're going to do to keep this thing going. Bobby had already, left and was trying to do his own solo stuff. So when I walked in, I didn't know I was coming in to replace Ralph. I thought it was just they want to go back to a 5-member group, and they talked about making the choreography more effective and they had 5 versus 4. And I had no idea until all hell broke loose, and we sat down at the table with Jimmy and Terry when all this stuff about splitting the money and all this stuff that's coming about now, having a new member because Ralph didn't know, he didn't really prove it, and didn't all the above. So it was like all this didn't happen until we sat down. I got to Minneapolis, and we sat down at the table, and then Ralph realized, we got a new member. And Jimmy and Terry was like, what is this? We got a new member? And we had to sit down and talk. And that's when everything came out in the wash of all the stuff. I mean, it was pure hell. And then after that stuff, the air got cleared dealing with all that stuff. Ralph and I just started bonding, sitting and talking and started bonding. And it gave him, I think, a sense of peace where I think over time, because it was just like, there was so much that we talked about, just stuff. Him feeling that pressure of being the lead singer, feeling the pressure of saying, you know, I want to try different music, but I can't because if I do this and the guys don't like it, then it doesn't allow me creatively to go where I want to go. So he was, I think, wanting to grow and wanting to do stuff and doing, you know, different, I guess elevating with his music with different stuff. So me coming along, understanding that and relating to that and being a part of, being a supporter of that in a lot of ways, I just think it gave him a sense of comfort, and I think it also allowed him to feel like there's somebody here who understands that now, understands where I'm at with this. And I think that's how we just started bonding. I mean, man, we would go record, and then sometimes we'd come back, sit down at the hotel, just be sitting down, just talking about dreams, about stuff that I want to do and things that I did. And, you know, and we just ended up just coming like that.
Yeah.
And we're like that still to this day.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And we just, you never know. When I talk about our path and we talk about destiny, we talk about all the other things, we wouldn't be this group that we are today if Bobby hadn't gone solo and hadn't had this huge success that he had individual as a solo artist. We wouldn't probably be this group today if Bobby had been still in this group. I would probably never have been in this group. And the success that we had as New Edition, all of this stuff happens without us understanding the plan of where this was ultimately what God was designing.
Yeah, and even with Mike and Ricky and Ronnie going to do that thing with BBD. Yeah. You know, that was man, y'all some bad boys, man. Like,
and that situation came about because they had to figure out what are we going to do next, because even though Johnny joined the group, he's still got an obligation as a solo artist that after we finish up with this, he's got to go back to record, and then Ralph's probably going to go and record. So what are we going to do? That's when Jimmy Jam came up with that idea. Bell Biv DeVoe, the BBD.
Yeah.
And what do you guys want to do? And they were like, what do you mean? You guys should do something together. So it was almost like forced, because I had to go back and I had to still fulfill my obligation as a solo artist to Motown.
Yeah.
So all of this was designed not because we did it. We could sound like we knew what we was doing and it was a brilliant idea and we was this and we thought maybe. It just happened because it was in the cards, and this was our predestined with what this was supposed to be ultimately. And everything worked in for the good that caused us to become this group that we are today, and to have the kind of firepower that we have with everyone being able to do what they did, but we were able to come back together collectively together.
Mm-hmm. My is your signature song.
That's the signature song.
Great song, but I'm going to tell you straight up, man, I got to call a strike, striking the ball, the ball. My favorite song from you, all-time favorite, is Half Crazy.
Oh, my God.
Let me tell you something. But here's the thing about Half Crazy. Here's the thing. It's my favorite song. However, I thought after I heard your later music, I was like, he was holding back. Were you holding back? Was that something done purposely?
Half Crazy?
With Half Crazy, it seemed like your voice it wasn't as strong.
Still developing.
Was it? It was because it was still developing. So you worked with what you had at that time.
Yeah, and the fact that Linda Creed, God bless her soul, she wrote so many songs for Teddy Pendergrass with back in the day for Philly.
She wrote that song.
Yeah, Linda Creed.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Lonnie Jordan from War.
That makes sense, because I was going to ask you, had you ever covered a Teddy Pendergrass song? And I know you've been compared to Teddy many times.
Yeah.
Have you ever covered a Teddy song?
I did for the soundtrack that they did. I forgot the name of that, Ladies Man or something, but it was a soundtrack. I did one of those songs with Marcus Miller. But I've always wanted to, and God bless my dear friend, close friend Jeff Allen over at Universal Attraction. He has been on me for years. He was like, you got to do a cover album with Marvin, Teddy, Luther, He says, you got to just do it just for no other, just for no other reason. You got to do one. You got to do it. And those are the ones that I idolize. Those are those people that I grew up on. Mm-hmm. And I keep saying I will. But yeah, that was the last song she wrote and produced before she died. She had cancer. I remember walking out of the studio and seeing tears coming down. And I'm just a kid singing a song, not understanding what it meant, what it was meaning to her, and none of that stuff. But listening back and watching how she said to me, looking at me, she goes, "You're going to be big, kid. You're going to be big."
Well, to hear your big voice at that time, it wasn't like a stretch, it wasn't like she was saying something really profound,
But as a kid,
everybody
at that point,
you could see it.
Yeah,
you could see it.
Yeah.
You could see those child prodigies, and you had that thing. You could look at that and say, you hear your voice like, yeah, he got that thing.
Yeah,
yeah. So now you got the Teddy Pendergrass, the Marvin Gaye, the Luther album coming. When? And here's the thing, that's what I want to ask you too. Like, you promised Whitney this gospel album, man.
That's what I was going to say. Once I get that done,
you're going to do that one first.
I got to get that done for her, for my mom.
What's the hold up? I know you got a life and you got a lot of things going on.
I just came off of my, I don't know, maybe seventh or eighth number one record with this new single, that single that I have out now. Called One Night. And I was trying to finish up the Game Changer 3 album, which is on the way. Then I said, okay, then I'll get this gospel album done. And then I'm going, okay, we'll get to the Marvin Gaye, Teddy Luther album and get that ready and prepared too as well. So it's just been a lot going on. I've been just trying to get that album ready to go because everyone's salivating now because of the success of the single that we struck number one on Billboard with again. So I've just been getting it done and enjoying it.
Have y'all spoken about doing another LSG record?
Keith and I have, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Keith and I go out on the shows with him. We do shows together. And whether if he goes on last, I'll take it out of my set to put it onto his set, so I'll come back out with him. Mm-hmm. But we was just talking about absolutely maybe getting someone else, a couple people, guest stars, not to take Gerald's place, but just a couple other guests, and just to collaborate and do another LSG album, which we are going to do, and we just keep going. We got to figure out a time frame to go and get it knocked out. So there's so much more to still be done.
I got a suggestion. I got a suggestion.
Okay.
So we got our G, we got our S, L for Lenny. Now you got to go with the last name. Y'all going with last name.
Uh-huh.
So it can't be Lenny, because I was thinking Lenny Kravitz. Boy, that would be dope.
Oh, Lenny! Oh my God! Because Lenny's just freaking
Lenny Kravitz.
Oh.
I'm trying to think, who else got the L in the last name that would be dope? Just kind of like insert that could hold his weight, could stand up next to these two giants in the game.
Well,
name L.
His last name is not really genuine. He uses, but it's like LSG. You got.
What's Genuine last name?
Well, his real name is Elder, but I'm just saying he goes by Genuine. But
right,
that's what people would know him as. If you said even LSG, he's still.
We need the L though. We got the G. We need the L.
Yeah, we need the L. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I'm the G still. I don't know. But it's the L that's missing, huh?
Yeah.
El DeBarge.
That's DeBarge. L. That's DeBarge. DeBarge is the last.
I know
name.
El DeBarge, but
It's like man. You know what? We ain't got to stay on par. We can just go get an L, man. Just you don't have to be a first or last name.
Or
just
LSG still. Call it LSG still, but just having a few special guests that we collaborate with, different artists. Yeah. Joe, El DeBarge, Genuine, some of the others that would be a part of the album of songs that we would collaborate with, but still call it LSG.
Yeah, that would work. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. And when y'all ask, they could step in and sing the song. Well, you let the crowd sing the songs. There's all kind of ways to run that play.
Yes, no question. No question. Yeah. The whole creative thing is always cool, man. It's just fun.
Johnny, man, it's been fun sitting down here with you, man. I really appreciate you coming by.
I've been a big fan, and I enjoy watching, man, because you always come and your perspective on, I've watched all of the interviews you do, you be on top of your game with it, and I'm just like, that's what makes me want to sit down. I don't do very many, but when I do them, I do them with those that I know bring something to the game.
Absolutely.
And I appreciate you.
My man. Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Gill.
Yes,
No
sir.
more talk.